And it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be elaborate. It doesn't have to be expensive. It really doesn't. But I'm telling you, it can start super simple. Just start somewhere. Don't allow those excuses to come in way, you know, and stop you from actually taking the action that is crucial. Because if you're taking action, you can figure those things out as you go. I give you permission to repurpose content that works effectively. Do it. If it works,
Beautiful.
why are you complicating your life? Why are you making it difficult for yourself? Because that is something that will stop you from showing up consistently. I don't miss a beat. I don't let you miss a beat if we work together. A lot of my clients have experienced like increased levels of accountability and productivity because they give me permission to keep them in check. And I love that. And they love that. So it's kind of like this dynamic of like, let's get shit done. If I
Hello, and thanks for tuning into Power Perspectives, People, Passion, Purpose. I'm your host, Shannon, and this episode, I'm hoping to learn a lot from my heart-centered guest. She's been a social media manager for over 3 years, with a heavy focus on serving women on a mission to improve the lives of other women in community, in business, and in sharing their offerings. Finding herself organically serving many healers, holistic coaches, as well as businesses and leadership coaches, she rarely needs to advertise her skill set as the Vibe Tribe finds her through referrals. Her brand is called Soul Connected Brand, and I'm grateful to pick her brain from beautiful Slovenia. Welcome to Power Perspectives, Mary Topalovic.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here. I'm excited about this conversation.
Of course, and we found each other just online, and I'm really interested to learn more about organic success in social media. So I'm
Mhm.
really glad we connected. But just to learn a bit about you and your story, how did you find yourself attracted to work in social media, and like what makes
Mhm.
you passionate about it?
Yeah, so my story is a bit of a all over the place and then the dots just connected, I would say. You know, I've always spoken multiple languages. One of them was English. It was pretty much like right there with my mother tongue and the secondary language. So I spoke it fluently since I was like five-ish. Watched a bunch of cartoons. Never knew what I would do with it, but yeah, I started studying tourism and I love traveling. But I always felt like the regular job, corporate stuff, I never was excited about it. So I was always like kind of like open-minded to different opportunities out there. So I was kind of like the ultimate goal would be where I am today to just work for myself from home with my dog, just chill and just rest and do it when I want it, you know, kind of thing. So um, I actually started like with marketing back in like 2016 as me and my boyfriend were traveling. We kind of like stumbled upon like this academy. We started learning about it. Then I kind of like went into video editing, and then Canva came out and it was the best thing that could have ever happened. And I was like, this is it. For some reason, Photoshop always seemed too technically advanced for me. I couldn't like figure it out for the life of me. It didn't excite me as much as like Canva. It's very visual, you know, whereas with Photoshop, it can feel like it's very like technical. You gotta figure it out in order
Mhm.
to make it work. And then I just started playing with it. And yeah, I kind of had a few conversations with different people that I met in the online academy. And they were like, well, your skill set, like the combination of them would actually make for a good social media manager. And I was like, okay, does that actually even pay? You know, is that even a thing? It seemed like it wasn't 3 to 4 years ago, even to me. I don't know what it was. I just never was looking at it from that perspective, you know. And then I was like, okay, let me just give it a go. Let's try it, you know, as a side hustle. Let me get into it. And I was in love. And I was like, this is it. This is speaking to me. Um, and I actually could see myself for the first time doing something as a living, as like, oh, this could be actually like a good combination, like the lifestyle um, and the things that you do as a social media manager. It really spoke to me, and I was like, okay, so yeah, that's how I kind of like started with it. Um, it's funny, I was looking for like a purpose slash meaning for a long, long time. And when I kind of like almost gave up, it just found me. So I was like, oh gosh, thank God.
I love that. I love when people find
Mm,
something that they're passionate about and that they're aligned with, and then it just kind of
mm,
keeps speaking to them.
yeah.
And you don't need to advertise too much for your clients. And
Mm,
obviously, when you love something, it's authentic to you, and you attract people that have that same kind of vibration. So, how do you
yeah.
meet clients? Like mostly referrals, but how does that look?
It literally like started with referrals, and still is going based on referrals. Now it's just like I added a bit of more like exposure and networking to the side of the business, just because I'm like, I gotta put myself out there. It's kind of like it started as a practice of like putting myself out there as like getting outside of the comfort zone
Mm,
and not, and kind of like after 3 years of doing this just based on referrals, I was like having a moment where I was like, that's amazing and I am blessed. I know I am, but I cannot take it for granted. I don't want to take it for granted, so I started kind of like actively working on connecting, putting myself out there, learning more, and just opening myself up to it and joining Facebook groups, connecting with people and putting myself out there in a way where I just tell people to refer me if they know someone. I have like a bit of a business, but also like love relationships with my clients. So some of them love to refer me. I don't even have to mention it, whereas with some, I'm like, hey, we can figure out a deal, like percentage wise and anything like that. So, um, yeah, I kind of like feel to this day that if you do something that you do from like genuine interest to make that person's life better, like I feel like you kind of get into this energy flow where people love you that much that they want to share it without you even mentioning it.
absolutely.
And I still to this day, I focus on growing my business, but I definitely like daily keep myself on like, yes, you want to expand your business and thrive and get more and do more, but I also like genuinely want to respect each client that I do have, where I deliver what I promise. I don't want the expanding of the business to take away from what I do for them. It
Mhm.
doesn't matter how much they pay me because the prices are different, because they have different requests, but it's kind of like crucial to keep that integrity part, and
Mhm.
not to stop delivering just because you're growing or you're expanding.
For sure.
Um,
And
yeah.
what do you find most of your clients' needs are? Like I'm assuming you probably have, so obviously we're you work more with women, but do
Yeah.
you find more that they need to just a helping hand to get stuff online, or that they need a total, like they don't know how to really advertise at all? What are you finding
Yeah.
with your work? And I'm sure there's a range, but how do you best help
Yeah.
your clients?
Yeah, with understanding marketing, and understanding even a bit of a branding side to it, I started kind of diving into it like 2 years into my journey. I started like really picking up on branding and diving deep into it because I
Mhm.
saw there was a need for it. And it helps me keep it organized for my clients. So a lot of my clients are established businesses, they are busy, and social media seems to just be the last thing on their list many
Mm,
of times, right?
yeah,
And I can resonate that so much because I do stuff for my clients all the time, and I've been leaving my social media just up to chances for a long time there as
yeah,
well, and I just started kind of picking up and being consistent. It's like a discipline. But they need the organization, the guidance bit.
yeah.
So when I come to them, the thing that they most love is I create like folders, I create spreadsheets, I keep it organized, I take notes, I make sure to each email that comes, I save the content of it somewhere. Like I don't miss things, and they love that I then just take their random inspirations, their random emails, and I put it somewhere, save it, and then actually like follow up with it and make content from it.
Mm,
And I keep them involved into, we have weekly calls where they tell me like, this is what's going on. And I'm like, this is what we'll do. So
yeah,
even just understanding that and sometimes offering even support in terms of like their overall marketing they have going on, either it's paid, either it's just like understanding the funnel, I can offer that and I do offer that. And
Great.
I feel like my biggest strength comes when a lot of my clients say, like, I love how organized you are.
Hmm.
And I kind of pride myself on it because I know how I function. If it's not organized, I'm not excited about it.
Yeah,
I don't want to do it. The
yeah.
procrastination part comes in if you're not organized,
That's good
right?
that you know that about yourself and how to help
Yeah,
clients. I mean, everybody needs some organization, but
yeah,
sometimes especially if you're busy doing the work, you don't know
yeah.
how to build the brand and you don't know what that even calls for because you're so deep in, whatever, you work with healers and light workers and energy
Mm-hmm,
workers and star seeds
mm-hmm,
and people really connected to this divine energy. They don't really
mm-hmm.
have time to organize their, what's going out and when. Um,
Yeah.
so if I could ask you, like, what are some good tips that you have for people kind of just that you may just have brought on as your clients?
Mm-hmm.
Do you see the same kind of things missing that you initially need to put down as foundations for them? Do you have any tips around that?
Yeah, I would say like before even thinking about social's potential, have like the base down, like either have some sort of a website, some sort of an idea what you do, some sort of like funnel of offers that you're going to do and everything. Because if that part of business is not bringing in sales, how are you going to pay the social media person? You have to focus on the sales part first, and then you can do it at the same time, promote yourself on socials, but you got to have the business bit down first. Socials
Yeah.
is not your business, you know. It's not, I unless you're like an influencer that already like knows that you can make millions of followers and all of that, then sure, go for it. But if you're like a business and you're like, you know, you don't know even what to promote on social, that's a wasted opportunity.
Mhm.
Because socials can be, even organic side of things is very much like encouraging people to come to you to get support and help. So if you don't know what you're actually gonna even talk about, offer to them, that's a huge wasted opportunity, and you're like wasting your money. So I
Mm,
would say like get clear on that bit first. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be elaborate. It doesn't have to be expensive. It really doesn't. Like if you start with a $50 logo and a website, like I know a lot of website people are maybe gonna hear this and they're not gonna be happy about it, but I'm telling you, it can start super simple. Just start
mhm,
somewhere. Don't allow those excuses to come in way, and stop you from actually taking the action that is crucial. Because if you're taking action, you can figure those things out as you go.
mm.
I
Yeah.
truly believe that if you have that energy of like go getter and intention, things are gonna just come and you'll be able to work with it. You don't have to sit for months and months to figure something as simple as like your website name. You can change it. It doesn't have to be once and done. You have to take into consideration like even your website, even your logo, even your brand. It chances are it's gonna evolve, and it's
Hmm.
going to evolve plenty of times, and you have to leave that space open for changes and just work with something, and then you can change it. Don't
Yes.
get so stuck on just that one visual or like that one overall feeling, and then you're gonna like be so thrown off the train when something will change.
Yeah. And I think we've got to be open to change at all times, but
Mhm.
also I think if you always are continuously waiting for the perfect moment, it's never going to come and you'll look back like
Yeah,
I wasted so much time. So just take
yeah,
the action is the action step. I like that.
right.
And can you give us some idea about, so let's say the business is now, we've got foundations,
Mm-hmm.
and then we just want to, I guess people want to gain followers. We're obsessed with the likes and the, okay, is my business doing all
Mm-hmm.
right? And the insights that social media provides. But what should we be focusing on then next? Is it building the following group or making good ads? What do you think?
Well, it depends on where you are with your business.
Mhm.
Ads work. If you have money, put it into it. But a
Yeah.
lot of businesses that just start out, chances are it's not like with huge amounts of investment. A
Yeah.
lot of people just start things as side hustles, or like there's not a lot of people who are fortunate enough to come into some new venture and have like hundreds of thousands. It does happen. I know it does, but right? The people that I work with, they don't start that way. I haven't started that way. You can
Right.
build up to it, and I'm here for it, you know. I would say, like, if you have money for ads, go for it. It works, you know, especially on social media. It works. It works more than organic. That's for a fact, you know. But if you don't, sit down, like write down like what are some of the key topics, start with content pillars, start with like the overall structure, and just like write down, you know, you can even assist yourself with AI, you know, let it help you, use it to your benefit, you know, and just write down like what are some of the things that I want to talk about, what are some creative ways I can incorporate this, and then come up with like the overall look of your social that should be very much similar to your website, because you want people to have this effortless transition if they do
Mm-hmm.
click on your website. Kind of follow that same vibe and that same style and just transfer it to socials, and then just start showing up.
I like
You
that.
know, I think that's the main thing that stops. Like, of course, there are so many ideas, so many amazing posts on social, but if you just keep scrolling and saving things and not actually doing anything, you're not doing anything. I'm sorry to break it to you. Even if you spent like 2 hours on socials today, that's not work. That's not work. Work is actually you seeing it, implementing it, and not saving 50,000 posts before you do one. Save one, do one. Save one, do one. You
And
know,
do
get
you,
into that practice
yes.
of showing up daily, you know.
So showing up daily. So do you think it's
Mhm.
better received to have a post where you know, write down something, or is it better to have that face and you're actually speaking to a camera? What do you
Test
find?
it out.
Sure.
Do it all. You know, test it out, especially in the beginning stages of your socials. Test it out. Literally come up with like, okay, a graphic, carousel, reel, my face, B-roll, try it, see it. And then by the end of the month, so this is what I do for my clients, and I feel like it's a good practice to even do it for yourself. At the end of the month, like Instagram, Facebook, even LinkedIn, they have great features in the background where you can actually pull the insights and see what's
Mhm.
working. See where people followed you the most, where people engage the most, and just pay attention and do it again and again and again. And you can literally speak on one same topic 20 different ways.
Mhm.
You can do like a reel like that, reel like that. You can do a carousel like that. You can put a quote, you can put it into captions, you can put it into graphics. So many ways to repurpose it. And I promise you, no one else is keeping track rather just than you. You're the only one that knows that you posted this post a week ago. You're the
Right.
only one. No one's gonna know. They won't. Unless you post like the exact same graphic, the exact same caption, which I don't advise. But if you just rephrase it a little bit, just use a different video or a graphic, no one's gonna know. I know it will seem a bit repetitive to you, maybe if you do it on your own, you keep track of it. Other
Mhm.
people, no one's doing it. No one knows.
Yeah, they've got
So
their own life
I would,
to live.
yeah. And, you know, if you post 5 posts, they don't even see all 5 posts. Even if they are your followers, they don't see all five posts,
Right.
you know. And if they are a new follower, no one's going to go 2, 3 weeks back and follow each one of your posts, analyze. It's not, it doesn't happen. So I give you permission to repurpose content that works effectively. Do it. If it works,
Beautiful.
why are you complicating your life? Why are you making it difficult for yourself? Because that is something that will stop you from showing up consistently.
And being
You know,
able to
do
repurpose something will give you that permission to, like, I don't have to do a full set of work again. I can just reuse this and
right,
you know, for the
right.
busy
Work
people that
smart.
yeah,
Don't complicate it. Life is difficult enough. You don't have to make it more difficult, you know?
that's
You
right.
don't.
Well,
So like just play around with it and see what works. Pull the stats, pay attention.
okay. And
Yeah.
you've got, I mean, so this becomes a little bit
Mhm.
cloudy for me, but there's Instagram, there's Facebook, there's LinkedIn, there's
Yeah.
Twitter, there's Pinterest, there's
Mhm.
what is the most effective platforms that you've found in your experience with clients?
It depends on what your target audience is. There's
Right.
not like not one performs better than the other. There's literally like there's not one that's ruling them all. It's not. Like depends on where you feel like you can show up daily and where your audience is.
Right.
You know, it might happen that like if you post on TikTok and your audience is on LinkedIn, it won't work, and
Yeah.
vice versa, you know. So you have to, that's why I'm saying, like, if you have the basics down in the beginning, when you're putting your website together and your messaging together, who are your people? You know,
Mm.
do you want to go and do the trainings for corporate people? I do like have a lot of like also clients that are business service based leadership, and they perform the best on LinkedIn, and that's where
Mm.
we focus. You know, they don't
Yeah.
have a TikTok, you know.
And
So
so
I
are
would
you
say
a master of all of these platforms? Do you feel like you know TikTok very well and you know LinkedIn very well, you know Instagram, Facebook, or do you know them all really, really well?
I would say I know those four: LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok.
Uh,
I know other platforms, but I'm not using them to the extent that I would say, like, oh, I know it all.
mhm.
I kind of stick to those four because I feel like to this
They're
day,
clients.
they are more the most effective ones, right? So they do kind of like get the most attention business-wise and engagement-wise. But I am aware of Pinterest. I do have a couple of clients that I do also YouTube stuff for them. So yeah, I do have those, but it's not something that I would say I'm mastered and I know everything about it. So
Sure.
it's also important for me to kind of like stay on top of it. And I can only do that if I don't spread myself too thin, right? So
And
yeah.
I'm sure you know more than most. You're just being a little bit modest also because you know you're not saying you're an expert, but
Yeah.
if someone is looking to organically get more followers, which is
Mhm.
kind of the big thing we're told to do, and what you kind
Mhm.
of do when you're looking up
Mhm.
someone, oh, this person has 11,000, oh, this person has 500 people. You know,
Mhm.
we kind of are drawn to what's more popular.
Mhm.
So, can you share with us what you think about some companies like I think it's called Path Social or like 100 other companies that you can sign up to and they say that well we're going to get you organic followers like 1,000 a day, like what do you think about ones like those?
That's fake. That's a spam. That's
Okay.
that's a
Okay.
given. There's no way they can get like actually thousands of legit people on your page in a day. There's no chance. And think about it. How much would you pay on Facebook or Instagram for an ad to get that many followers per day? Thousands,
Mm-hmm.
thousands, hundreds and thousands. Why do you believe random profile that they will get it for you for $50?
Yeah.
Where's the logic? Why would they do it? You know, it doesn't make sense. So don't fall for it. It actually hurts your profiles more than it benefits them, because if you have a significant number of scammy accounts, bots on your account, you get shadow banned. And
Mm.
it's difficult to get out of that rut, to the point where I know people who have done it in the past. I wasn't involved in it, but I kind of came in after they did the whole thing, and they're like, it
Help
stopped from
me.
there. And I was like, well, I get it. Yeah. What you'll have to do is probably just create a whole new account, potentially even change your laptop IP, because like they have access. It's like you're on the blacklist, you know. So
Oh,
don't do
good
it. It's
advice.
not worth it. It will affect more than you realize. It's not just like, oh, I get thousands of followers. No, no. It will affect other accounts that you're connected to. It will affect other things on your algorithm that you don't even know. So don't do it. I would say like the best way to go at it is to, if you're doing it paid ads, that's fine. That's approved by social platforms. Do it. But other than that, keep an eye on trends as well. Trending
Mm.
audio, trending ways to do content. You know, I always tell my clients, like, don't waste your time a minute per day going through your feed on Instagram. Go to the discovery page, see what
Okay.
it shows you. That's where you should be focusing your time, on the discovery page of Instagram, not on the feed, because
Okay.
discovery page shows you what works in your niche. So you should be paying attention to those things,
Okay.
right?
And what's the insight there? So if we look at the discovery page and we see, all right, these are is what the algorithm is offering me more connection to. So let's say I like and follow a bunch of things in the discovery, then that just
Mhm.
continues to expand my circle of influence. Is that right?
Yes, well, our discovery page works like there's a mixture of people you already follow and a mixture of people that you don't even maybe know, but Instagram is like this looks like you would love it, and
Okay.
they're just kind of like inserting random people's content in there, but they pretty much are all exactly what you love watching, what you enjoy consuming, right? So especially paying attention to like, oh, what's this post? I love it. Oh, I don't follow this person. Why did it show it to you?
Mm.
It has to work. So take note. Is it the bright colors? Is it like a specific style? Is it a specific video? Is it a specific audio? Like get into that like a bit of an analytic mindset, rather than just like mindlessly consuming content, which
Hmm.
doesn't, like I said, it doesn't do you any good. You just become overwhelmed. And by the end of like 2 hour scroll, you're like done and you don't want to touch it for days because you're fed up with it. don't
Yeah.
don't waste your time there. Just pay attention to like what is Instagram showing you, because that's working.
Hmm.
That's like a good rule of thumb to follow on, like what would perform for you as well. And just don't have to copy it. I wouldn't recommend that. Take inspiration from it, recreate it in your own way, with your own branding, with your own voice, and just test it.
I like that. That's great advice. And like, what would you advise that we need to know more about algorithms? Do you know uh, how the algorithms
Yeah.
work? And they tend to deceive us all, but we don't know enough about them. Can you share with
Yeah.
us your insight on algorithms?
Yeah, I would recommend, like, if you're not super aware of like how the platform works, or what, like, let's just use Instagram for example. That's the one I use the most, I would say as well. Um, go first, like first of all, go to like Montseri's page or go to Instagram's page and check up like what do they recommend, because they want to see that. If you're posting reposted videos from TikTok with TikTok watermark on the video on Instagram, not a fan. Don't do that. Use captions, use hashtags, use the topics in the settings, like all of those things. Just if you're not like super into like a platform, you only use that to upload like your cat and a cup of coffee every 6 months, I would recommend you reading on like what they like, and then also just following with that and making sure that you are trying to follow that because they do show it to more people.
Mm,
And also being active, engaging, using all the features, trying to use as many features as you can, even stories, comments, DMs, and just try to get yourself in front of the right people and be active. The more
okay.
active you are, the more it shows. So, yeah.
And how active should we be? So, like a minimum of if you're advising a client, like I want you to
Hmm.
post at least once a day, or I want you to like at
Hmm.
least three things a day. What would you
Hmm.
say?
Yeah. So I have like different packages for my client, but in all of the packages, it's non-negotiable for me. For the last 3 years, it's a non-negotiable for me. Either you do the engagement or I do it. And I know they don't do it. It's like it's a thing that no one has time for it. That's where I'm like, I'll do it for you. So literally go into like one of the platforms, 15 minutes per day.
Okay, not
15.
bad.
Start small, even just 15 minutes per day consistently. Believe me, in a month it's gonna show. It doesn't
And
have to be hours. It really doesn't. Of course, the more you do it, the better, but start with 15. Try to work up to it, and then just like follow accounts, like, comment, and just get yourself in that space of like where your people hang out, where
okay,
potentially people who follow people who are similar to you hang out, and just get into those spaces, work your way up to it,
okay,
and just focus on like really doing that rather than just like mindlessly scrolling.
yes.
Like I put timer on my phone when I'm doing engagement for all of my clients. It's like half an hour per one client, maybe like every 3 days. I put the timer on. I'm literally like, I gotta stay focused,
Yeah.
because it's so easy to evaluate time based on how much you like the task or you don't. Sometimes if
Yes.
I'm not feeling it, like 15 minutes is over in five, and I'm like, no, 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 stick with it for 15 minutes,
And
So yeah,
and so what are you doing in 15 minutes? Is this actively liking things,
yeah.
following things, anything else that you're doing in that time? Like liking, being present? Is it just being present?
Yeah, responding to comments on your posts, that's like the first thing that I do, respond to comments, like it, and check up those people. Like if they commented, maybe check them out, maybe follow them back, comment, like, just kind of get back at them, I
Okay.
would say. And then, the other thing would be like once I'm done with that, check your DMs, even if it's just like a reaction to your story about like a clap, like it, let people
Yeah.
know, like, yes, I enjoyed it so much, whatever,
Yeah.
DMs are really good for engagement. So as many people as you can get to react in stories, perfect. Do that as much as you can.
Okay.
And the good thing with stories is it doesn't have to be all business. You can post like something from your personal life, like behind the scenes, and a lot of people can relate to it, and you get
Hmm.
responses. I literally posted like my cucumbers growing on my balcony today, and I had like
Nice.
a bunch of people saying like that's awesome, and I'm like, love it.
Yeah.
The simplest things can make a big difference. So that's one thing. First, respond comments, DM, then potentially like find people who are in your niche, follow, like, just so that you kind of get, Instagram is paying attention to everything you do. So if you like someone that's in your industry or you like five different people, first of all, it's going to show more of their content, which is good for your research. And second of all, they will start connecting it. They'll be like, oh, this person seems to be in this category. And if you're in that category, your chances to be exposed to the same people that buy from these people in your industry, you will get exposed to them as well. So just kind of get
Great.
into those spaces. And then also what I love to do is I also sometimes if I have time, I go to like I don't know, big social people out there, and I just check their comments out. I see how people respond to their content, and
Hmm.
that's another research. And then if they respond to their stuff, I might follow them as well because they seem to be active. So they might comment on my stuff as well. It's kind of like this legit and moral stalking all over. So it's,
I'd call
yeah.
it reciprocity, but stalking works too. I like
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, just kind of getting yourself into that space of
Sure.
seeing content that's in your niche. So I'm saying all the time, like if if you go into your Instagram, what you should be seeing most is your industry content. So people who are in the same industry should be seeing the content because
Right.
that seems like you shouldn't have like, I don't know, if you're like a social media person and you're like all about social media, like you shouldn't have too many like reality TV shows people on there, like you
Yeah.
shouldn't be seeing that type of content. That's distraction. I know you love that person from like Love Island, but you don't need to waste your time on it. It's business at the end of the day. Focus on where your efforts will actually like make sense, you
Do
know.
you, do you think people should have a personal account and a business account if they have
Depends.
vastly different kind of things that they like
Yeah, if
sharing?
it's vastly different, I would say so. But it also depends where are you starting with. If you're starting with personal account and you have 0 followers, then in that case, and if you're not gonna use Instagram for your personal use and you're like, I just need Instagram for business, then just have one. But if you're already like super active on your Instagram and you like to post your beach pics and girls' nights out, keep it for like personal.
Yeah.
Like people don't need to see all of it, I would say. But sometimes those things mash. There's like a lot of people who are out there doing successfully something, and if you have like thousands of followers, I would say kind of like just add to it, just kind of like mesh it into it somehow if you feel comfortable. At the end of the day, it just comes down to like you deciphering what the intention of your business is
Hmm.
going to be and and the intention of your personal is going to be. I have both because I started my personal years ago and I love to post like just dog pics, nature, just
Nice.
random things. I don't, it's not entertaining at all, but I do it and I have like a lot of people who I know my whole life on it.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like I should annoy them with my content that's in English as well. It's in another language and just like promote to them because I know they won't buy. It's not, I don't think none of
Sure.
them would. They don't have that same lifestyle. So yeah, where you're comfortable at. But yeah.
And I
Mm.
was going to ask you also, do you think that you can have, on Instagram, do you think you can have too many people that you're following? Like, for example, I had a friend that was like, you have, say, 2,000 followers, but you're following 4,000 people. Does that matter?
No, it
No.
doesn't
Okay.
play any role at all. It
Yeah.
doesn't. The only role where it plays a thing is with maybe your ego. I would say,
Okay.
I'm sorry to say it, but if you're keeping track on how many people you follow and how many people
Yeah.
follow you, and you're trying to get more people to follow you rather than it's in your head. Don't fuss about it. I know a
Mhm.
lot of people who don't even think about it. It's not a thing. It
Great.
doesn't count as anything. I would even suggest, like, in the beginning stages, you should follow more people than people follow you. Like, if
Yeah.
if your growth of followers is stopped by you thinking like, oh, I shouldn't follow too many people, then you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot. Like,
Mm.
you won't get people following your back, unless you're
Yeah.
Beyonce or Will Smith or Eminem that follow like zero people. Like, I wouldn't suggest keeping a track of that. It doesn't matter. And to be honest, just make a test with yourself. If you land on someone's profile, what's the thing that you check out?
Hmm.
How many people follow them? I rarely go and check out how many people you're following.
Yeah.
I really do. I just now I'm thinking about it. I rarely do. It's really not a thing. It really isn't. And even if you have, like, don't put like these random self-created pressure expectations on yourself. If you have like 10K followers and you have like 1,000 views on your reel, that doesn't mean you're like terrible at it. It just means refining it a bit more. That's the only feedback it's giving you. That doesn't mean you're not good or you should get rid of some followers or anything like that. Don't do it. As long as you're kind of like building it up, seeing
Mm.
like each month. That's why I also recommend like doing that monthly analytic to see, like, is my stuff is my stuff working? Are my followers growing? That's the only thing that matters, the
Hmm.
engagement and the followers. That's why you're there. And if there's like a few DMs here, there, and you actually make some sales, perfect. But if you're like a serious business, of course, it also matters, like how many people clicked on your link and stuff like that, for sure. But I would say, like, if you're starting out, focus on those metrics, getting the engagement, getting the followers, and keeping it, like, making it grow each month. It doesn't matter if it's 1% or if it's 10%, it will fluctuate and change with each month.
Hmm.
So depends on how well you're reading the analytics and how well you're kind of like then recreating what works.
Mm.
So yeah.
I love that. And I mean, we're calling this soulful social, so heart-centered success in social media. Your clients are
Mhm.
usually, like I said before, heart-centered healers and light
Yes.
workers. How can you, if I'm listening to this now, I want to work with you. What is it that you do kind of differently than someone that's, I'm a social media manager,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
you're connected? What is the difference?
Yeah, I think I found my overall niche. So all the ladies that have a really pure intention and message to help someone, help their clients. I love working with those ladies. I've been on my own like personal development, self-growth journey for a decade now, and all of these books and more courses and everything. I've been on it myself. My first client was my own healer. She was like, "Oh, do you want to trade?" And I was like, "Let's try it."
Great.
And we fell in love, and it was the best relationship ever. And I would say, like, how I specialize is in that human sister connection. So I
Mm.
do hold your hand with it. I'm not just like, oh, I'm doing your socials, I'll do it and I'll just post it, see you later, just send me a check. I don't love that type of relationship. I really do think that it's important to also work in a humane, connecting way. So that's why I named it Soul Connected brand, because I need to connect with your soul. You
Mm.
want to connect with your clients. It matters to me. I love to wake up in the morning and just be excited to hear from my clients, celebrate their personal wins as much as business wins, and be able to support them not just in social ways, but also sometimes it feels like we support each other emotionally. We support each other in whole business wise. I kind of like give them guidance. They share stuff with me, their wins. So I would say, like, the biggest thing that I would say is, first of all, I do the engagement, which I don't know many social media managers who do that, to be honest with you. Like
Right.
I'm in a membership that's quite exclusive and quite pricey, and it's like a whole 6 months like internship, membership, social media type of thing. And not many do, like there's thousands in it, and I don't know too many that do like personal engagement, go to your profile and actually put the time and legwork in. So I still want to maintain that because I want to be happy with you being happy with your results. That
That's
matters
great.
to me. That's why my clients love me, refer me, stay with me, because I take it personally. And for the longest time, I thought like the business side of things, like it's not personal. Yes and no. Yes and no. You know, you can't get too involved in it because at the end of the day, it's not your business, and you cannot get hurt if they decide to move on and, you know, do their own thing and change the
Hmm.
whole industry if they want to. You know, you can't be fussed about it. But I do take it personally to a level where as much as like clients choose me, I choose them to work with.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
some of the values and some of the things that I'm looking for have to be there. You know, I have to kind of get a read on like, oh, is she not legit, but is she authentic? Is she in with integrity doing, like, especially when it comes to healers, you know,
Yeah.
is she actually doing it for her purpose and her meaning and her willingness to help others, or is it just money? I don't
Mm.
mind either or, but I tend to work more with ladies who have found success in actually doing it because they love it and thriving. And that's like my sweet spot. And I love that, you know, because do feel like even if you're a holistic, spiritual, woo woo, witchy, whatever you are, you should be allowed to do whatever you do with success and
Yeah.
also monetary success. Why the heck not? You know,
Yeah.
we all need to pay bills. We all want to feel appreciated. All want to grow, expand, and support ourselves and our loved ones, but not at a price of you actually like fooling people. You know, I'm
Mm.
not, I can't stand behind that. I don't feel good with that. So I kind of like really check my people out. And so far, thankfully, I didn't have too many cases where it didn't work out because
Yeah.
the more I learned, the less I liked, you know. So I would say like that's a part of me that I feel like is important to me and my clients, that I actually connect, I'm actually transparent, I'm actually responsive, I'm actually there, you know, I don't leave you hanging for a week.
Yeah.
That's not happening ever. So I kind of like I'm a way like I'm an extension of you and your business. Often tell my clients as well who are healers, I'm like, I love so much what you do. I wish I would have your gifts, but until I have them, I'll do the second best thing. I'll support you to do it,
That's beautiful.
you know, and I want to stand behind businesses that I can actually be proud of saying, like, if I have a problem, if someone from my personal life has a problem, I can refer them to them. That's how much I have to love their business and trust them,
Yeah.
you know, to send my boyfriend, my mom for a healing. That's how much I have to know that you're the right person, you
Yeah.
know?
That's integrity, and that's very responsible, and that's very heart
Yeah.
centered. So I think you're
Yeah.
only going to attract people that your vibration is putting out. So I think that's wonderful. I was just going to kind of winding up here, but is there
Mhm.
anything that you wish people knew more about your work, the work that you do, or about you?
That's a good question. I don't know. Um, I
Is there
think
something, yeah,
yeah,
kind of
it
like
goes
you might find in conversation when people kind of
yeah.
first meet you that they don't really know, and then when you tell them, they're like, "Oh, great,
Okay, so this is like a fun fact at the same time.
love fun facts."
So I recently stumbled upon, and I do have like one client that's into astrology, connecting it to life purpose and stuff. So
Cool.
I've just started delving into it myself, and I've discovered I always knew I was a Capricorn, but I recently found out like a few months ago when I started doing the human design and everything else, you know, that
Right?
it's quite more than that. So out of like the main six signs that I have, five of them are Capricorn.
Wow.
So there's just like one Sagittarius in there, but like my sun, moon, Mars, Venus, all of those are like Capricorn. So,
Wow.
and I'm a manifesting generator.
Cool.
So I'm a driving force and I do my work because it's not that, for me, it's like I'm always doing it for myself as well, as much as I
Yeah.
am for my client. I literally cannot sleep if I know I forgot something. There were countless days in my journey where I would wake up and I would be like, forgot something, I need to do it now. Now, middle of the night, if I remember it, I'll do it. Doesn't happen too often, but if it does, I don't wait. I don't wait,
Yeah.
maybe like, oh, maybe they won't notice, or like, oh, I'll forget about it. It's not important. Like, nah, I can't live with that. It literally eats me up. So that's a fun fact about me.
I
Maybe like a
love
lot
that.
of people, like, even if they visit my socials, like it's very much like beige and zen, which I love. Even my whole house is very like zen, calm, because sometimes I can get intense, so I need it to be very calm. But behind it all, it's like I have this personality of like, nah, I don't miss a beat. I don't let you miss a beat if we work together. A lot of my clients have experienced like increased levels of accountability and productivity because they give me permission to keep them in check. And I love that. And they love that. So it's kind of like this dynamic of like, let's get shit done, if I might say so.
Yeah.
So that's definitely something that I've used to not like personally about myself because it is like this like driving force until I literally drop. But I've managed to figure out how not to drop, so now I'm allowing it. But yeah,
You're
I would
coming
say
into
that.
balance.
Yeah, oh yeah, I'm figuring it out. Thankfully, I have a boyfriend and a dog that keep me in check. So yeah, I would say that's something that could mean a lot to some people, especially like if you're in a holistic or spiritual world where sometimes you can just go off days on and not be online. And if you're just meditating, channeling, whatever, I got you covered and you don't have to even think about it, which means a lot to those types of people who
For
love to
sure.
kind of go off or do their own thing. I still keep the fort down.
Mary, that is what the world needs right now. And I love that.
Mm,
I love that how you worded it, but also just bringing people to be accountable is such a
yeah,
huge gift that I think we all need a coach in our life or somebody that is an accountability buddy because
yeah,
we don't do so much for ourselves. We do something for when someone else is watching. That's just kind of
yeah,
but I love that you do that. And then that means that you help people build better and achieve more of do what they say they want to do. So that's
yeah,
incredible. Mary, where can people find you to work with you? I've got your Instagram is Soul Connected Brand. And
yes.
where else can we find you?
Also on LinkedIn and also my website. It's all under the same. No, LinkedIn is Mary Topalovic. So that's my LinkedIn. I kind of keep it personal.
Yeah,
I still post business everything, but I keep it as a name. I've just seen that on LinkedIn, it matters if you use your name instead of just like business page. So that's
right.
maybe like one thing. But on um, on Instagram and my website, Soul Connected Brand, that's where you can find me and just drop
Beautiful.
me a message if you have any questions.
That's incredible. And I will post all the links in the description. But
Thank you.
thank you so much for your time today, Mary. I really appreciate you sharing this stuff with us.
Thank you for having me. It is an amazing conversation.